That was an intense song there, especially for what's ahead. Welcome back to another chapter of Mortal Kombat Return of the Dragon King. Last time, Kenshi, Aiko, and Ermac actually arrived at Edenia, and they met with the Royal Guard there, and they just informed them that Sindel, Jade, and half of the Royal Guard has relocated to the Lost Tomb, where Onaga's sarcophagus laid, in order to incinerate the corpse. While there, they were ambushed by ambushed by Katana and Tanya, who were actually employed by Onaga, because Onaga had just been resurrected, and it was proven true, as Katana, as one of Onaga's thralls, has been brainwashed and resurrected by him, and thus starting the ambush. And the trio actually met up at the Lost Tomb after Ermac was considered as King Gerard, and was actually a free man, as the Edenian guards sewed a patch of a Yaz symbol symbolizing his freedom from Shao Kahn's hold. So, Ermac pitched in and used his soulkinesis to incapacitate Katana and remind her that he is her lost father, the lost king of Edenia, King Gerard. And Sindel was very emotional to see him, as was Katana herself, and even the guards. And Liu Kang's spirit offered to incinerate Onaga's dead corpse, the skeleton, as Kenshi was taking them back to Earthrealm in order to search and protect the final Kamidogu. So with that out of the way, let's get going, shall we? Alright, here we are, continuation 5, The Ways of Chaos. I stated in a previous chapter that Hanzo remembered encountering Shujinko in the Netherrealm and training him, thus Shujinko taking his form while also taking in his wrath. I guess I forgot to mention it in the last chapter, but Kung Lao never saw Shujinko train with Hanzo, nor did he have his revenge on Quan Chi. In Conquest he does, which doesn't make sense, since he wasn't supposed to know until the events in MK4, when he idiotically stated he killed his clan in front of him and has stunned Kwai, before Scorpion tackled Quan and sent them both to hell. I almost forgot about the second time Shujinko went into the Netherrealm to restore his taint, his ability to travel to other realms. In a way, it could just be a temporal flux, like the Nexus in Star Trek Generations. On one hand, it's non-canon, yet I forgot to highlight Scorpion meeting Shujinko, so I guess Lao skipped over that spar. But I won't count his vengeance, so I think Midway just fucked up here. And the thing about Conquest is that, yeah, it is indeed inconsistent. So here we are. Li Mei led Kung Lao and Hanzo through the Kwaitan jungle, a more desolate route she suggested to get to the ancient portal undetected by Onaga and his undead cronies. As a skilled warrior trained by the late Boraicho and native of Outworld, she became quite the navigator in all the wildernesses of uncivilized realm. She summarized to stay on firmer ground and away from the marshes and swamps, as they could be infected by various deadly creatures such as the pseudo-alligators and huge cobras lurking about. She even stated this was once a home to a forgotten extinct species, and civilization had been abandoned by Khan and his vicious Saurian minions. Minutes later, Li Mei stopped the explorers as she beheld the circular gateway with the metallic frame. Kung Lao confirmed it was the same one he saw back in Earthrealm and the Nexus. Amongst the dense overgrowth and foliage, it was nearly blending in with the humid environment. A nearby bush ruffled, and the trio hesitated and braced for the worst, thinking it'd be a wild denizen belonging to the swampy terrain. However, Luck wasn't on their side as archers emerged from the bog and brushes with their black bows drawn. They surrounded the startled, bewildered group even as they witnessed a slender male walk up to them. He was covered in thick leaves and vines, obscuring his molded outfit, although his shades were unaffected as he took them off. Onaga seemed a lot more clever than you thought. Johnny, what are you? Lau could hardly speak. He was stunned as he noticed one of his friends being enthralled by Onaga, even after death. Little spoiler, foreshadowing. My scenic plan worked well. Just the perfect trap I needed to make you three one of us, he sneered, as if pouncing on fresh meat. Kung Lao, Johnny only wants to kill us so we can be mindless slaves like him. All rats are bound to their upbringer, Hanzo warned. I don't want to fight you, Johnny. Oh, I wouldn't want to fight me neither. Fight! Hanzo's stated words won't work on Onaga's servant, similar to Quan Chi's. In other words, he must be resolved in combat. He should know, even though Lao recalled Hanzo attaining his lost humanity despite the dormant wraith in him. Johnny was indeed desperate in finding the last Kamidogu, as it was convenient to find Hanzo instead. Oh boy, he knows. Lunged in with a flashing kick, but Lao maneuvered him with a spin jump, which led into a chain of several Shaolin drops before Cage avoided his aerial slam. Cage ducked Lao's hat throw. The warrior teleported, making them size each other up before unleashing some exchanging punches and kicks. Cage unleashed the Nutbreaker, which stunned Lao for a few seconds, but was flexible enough to counter his next strike. Cast out a given orb before Lao teleported and attacked Cage from behind with a flurry of punches. Lao became swifter as he gained momentum, even when he threw his hat into Cage's skull before flipping over while his hat stayed in place, until he teleported to stab the spinning wheel into his spine. Cage wasn't down and out yet, as he became more ferocious. Lao avoided his triple orb, only to be too close to Cage's counters. He even smacked Lao's head against one of the fractured statues, stunning him. Little did he know, a heart-shaped glow emanated from Lao's side, recovering his injuries. He was back toward one of the taller statuettes, till he teleported on top, hung and swung from a vine. He repeated the same strategy on the other vine and continued to pummel Cage with a few Shaolin drops, before he blocked. He made a tornado and slam-punched him to the ground. Then he teleported quickly and closed in for the kill, with a whirlwind kick and rapid legs while he spun in a vortex. Lao managed to knock the wind out of Cage's body, which was now immobilized. You best to surrender, if you know what's good for you. A few darts flew. Kung Lao, with his keen senses, deflected them with another tornado. He abruptly stopped, and he and his allies were struck in the center of another violent vortex, one with thicker, more volatile force, tossing all the archers around before scattering and splattering over the jungle floor. After a minute, the way was clear, and in dropped Fusion from the thick canopies. Well, this is a nice shady place. Oh, Lord Fusion! Lao bowed. He was astonished to see him in the midst of Outworld. Can the formalities, Kung Lao. You need to head to that portal. Right, let's go. What about Li Mei and him? I'll take them straight to Earthrealm. I know the order forbids foreigners, but we have desperate times here. I'm not sure how to deal with a revenant, so he must be contained. Go! Hurry! Hanzo and Lao nodded, and they headed to the portal. Portal activated. Fusion confirmed aloud that Johnny must have been searching for the last Kamidogu, and Hanzo, Fusion, and Lao knew exactly what it was, since it was foreign news to Li Mei. Fusion silenced her, as there may be spies lurking about, just like Johnny, as Sonya and Jax, some special forces agents, were still about. Fujin heard a low snarl coming from the reanimated corpse. Cage was about to rip his own head off, until Fujin nipped him in the bud. "Damn you, bastard! He was about to pull off a harikiri!" Li Mei didn't know what he meant. "I believe it has to do with the suicide." He then put a steady hand on Li's quivering shoulder and replied, "Hold on tight." He swayed his arms, and they were teleported to Earthrealm. The Wayne god hesitated as he looked up. "Brother?" In disbelief, he had his feet buzzing. The distant vegetation was bent as a Tarkatan wearing a spotless white tee bore his fangs. Oh boy, there was another spy. Lau and Hanzo escaped into the Nexus, though they needed to regain their footing. After catching their breath, Hanzo pointed to the Goldenrod portal. "That must be the Chaosrealm. I remembered wandering there in search of one of my fallen comrades. I needed Shijinko's assistance to find his body. It had been decayed, but luckily, he retrieved his intact mask for me as evidence." Lau's mind seemed to be elsewhere. "I'm surprised Onaga sent a Revenant Johnny alone." For a brief moment, Hanzo's mind flashed back to the first tournament. Orders were orders, and they are always bound to them. I was only consumed by revenge, but I was always enslaved by Quan Chi. It led my ardency as I was hunting for the Lin Kuei fugitive Kuai Liang. We tend to be puppets enamored by our master's words. And if I'm correct, I believe Onaga follows order as he too oppresses free will. It is certainly anarchy to the erratic Chaos Realmers. So, how are they? Do they seem violent? Psychotic? That depends. They are unpredictable. We must always be on our six. They proceeded to the yellow portal as Lau remembered in his dream. Although he was tempted to take the Earthrealm Kamidogu, thinking Onaga might use them united as a power source, Hanzo held his hand back and he said, as he hypothesized, the dragon may be watching them from afar. So they emerged into the gateway. They were disheveled. It was a disorienting world. And this was one of the realms introduced in Mortal Kombat Deception, right along there with the Order realm. So, it was tough highlighting this. To the former monk, the atmosphere felt like a surrealistic nightmare, out of context, alien-like, and sometimes made his head feel light. Could have sworn he saw the same sphere of energy in that fuzzy voice speak. "You must continue your search in this realm, the realm of chaos." Chaos? Damashi remained unfazed. "The nature of this realm is one of constant turmoil. The beings here have been opposed to order and structure. Chaos is their religion." Kung Lao. Kung Lao! Oh, Hanzo. I feel so out of sorts here. This realm is making me feel a bit queasy and out of it. Still, we must find Havik. Trotting behind the Shira-Ryu hitman while he continued to hold his head. He couldn't bear to look at the pale grayish mint sky. It made his headache worse. Could have sworn he saw bolts of energy fizz through it, or maybe he was just seeing stars as an after effect from being hit. He barely noticed the pitch-black tombstones, even those with demon horns, or the coffins that were closely shaped like rockets, and the savage denizens running around as if they were scorching or had their heads chopped off. I must be losing my mind. It wasn't just his vision that was foggy, nor the distant landscape, but as if his brain was blurring and had a lesser grip on reality. Hanzo... Alright, Hanzo had to escort him through. It was a toxic landscape, and there were some pizza-like structures. Yeah, pizza-like structures, like the buildings in Italy. That's the best I could describe them. It was tough writing this. There was black-yellow designs of the portals, the automatic doors, the illuminating steps to the colossal center pillars, holding up the gleaming ceilings. Hanzo, this almost looks futuristic. Perhaps this realm had been developed more rapidly than Earth or the Nether realm. It almost feels like time is moving faster, as if you can't perceive time here. The people are just as frantic as the flow of nature itself, even many cases of extreme restlessness. On the subject of sudden tantivy, or whatever, Lau hardly noticed Hanzo carrying him over his shoulders as they slipped into the bright circular platform, which worked them off their feet as they beheld themselves in a different landscape from the endless void below. Still, it didn't take long for the ninja to find a bulky, armored man, which could have resembled a crusader in ancient Earth realm. And, as we all know, it is Havik. Lau's mind zoned out again. You have two choices, stranger. State your intentions, or hear the shattering of your spine. I wander in search of holy relics, madman. Do not block my path. Hanzo, or was it Shijinko, defined him. Ah, a wanderer, eh? I am Havik, a cleric of chaos. I would never think of confining a spirit such as yours. Thank you, Havik. I am Shijinko. I am a newcomer to the realm of chaos. There are many newcomers as of late. Satan Guardsmen, for instance. They seek to restrict the flow of our water, something we hold sacred. Water was not to be controlled. Its shapeless, fluidic nature is a blessing. I make you an offer, Shijinko. Take these 4 chaos pendants, defeat each of these 4 Satan invaders, and place a pendant around their necks. The pendants will shatter the bondage of order and reveal to them the perfection of chaos. Only then they will cease the enslavement of our water. Do this for me, and I will teach you the ways of chaos as well. Who are these Satan Guardsmen? They are soldiers of an oppressive realm that have come to impose their order. They seek to control and alter our water supply for their own ends. Their presence here is offensive, only if it suits you at the time. I will not have it any other way. May chaos break the rules that bind us, my friend. I really like Havik. And it's actually ironic because, I prefer order over disarray. But I seem to like his style better. Lau could have sworn, blah blah, he was having an out-of-body experience, but he kept having visions of Shijinko taking out each of the Satan Guardsmen, which looked very similar to Vikings. That's the best way I could describe them. They glowed with neon sky blue energy. The canisters before his mind receded back to Shijinko with Havik again at the same place. You have converted the Satan Guardsmen into the ways of chaos. They shut down their facilities and came here for guidance. I proposed to them a mission in their home of Satan, the realm of order. They have already embarked on the quest. I thank for your assistance. You said you would show me the ways of chaos if I could free their minds. The Crusader was disgusted. As if I would honor a deal? You should know better than to bind a man of chaos to his word. I will free myself of this oppression. Fight! Lau's mind trailed off again. He became delirious. He saw double vision, 2 Haviks. One in his red garb, the other opposing him in orange-yellow. At times, they made out to be Hanzo instead of fighting Havik. Another tutorial. He had the torso spin, the cracking legs projectile. He had this, the monkey style. He turning his leg at 360 degrees in a head snap, where he literally broke his neck back into place, which to Hanzo was a way of restoring energy in a bizarre fashion. His fighting pose was awkward, as his legs looked like a crab's or a spider's, while the upper half moved like a snake charmed by a flute. It seems like he was using his snake fighting style. Hanzo took him on with little to no problem. He was a seasoned resident of the Chaosrealm. No doubt since he was damned, adapted, and bound to the unrelenting Netherrealm. His wrathful counters were just as ruthless as Havik's despite applying to the laws of physics. Liu Kang II had some hallucinations of Ermac fending off Havik, even though the former was moving and attacking in the same fashion as Hanzo. The cursed ninja was able to defeat the cleric. Well done! Well done? You tried to kill me! Nonsense! How could I teach you the ways of chaos if there was an agreement, a structure to the lesson? Oh, I think I understand. I was learning from the unpredictable nature of experience, not from a structured tutorial. I did not realize you had no intentions on harming me when you attacked, and therefore, I learned to adapt to what I perceived to be a real threat. You are correct. Except, I would have killed you if you had given me the chance. I was quite serious. Because you have survived my assault, however, I give you this key to an ancient labyrinth. May it unleash chaos upon your journey. The vision shifted back to Hanzo after Havik handed a small golden key to Shujinko. You fleas have always been this insane. As if treating a fight as a friendly conversation or a turn-on. Indeed, we do. It feels like decades since the last time I saw you, Scorpion. Hanzo, please. Fair enough. You still a chained wraith of the Netherrealm? No. I had already broken my shackles as I restored my humanity after my bondsman Quan Chi was slain by my own hands. Intriguing. You seemed a lot stronger and livelier than I recognized. Kung Lao and I are here to find you. The Dragon King of Outworld, Onaga, has risen once more. What? Onaga? The accursed serpent binding his followers into submission, controlling his massive undead legion, no longer having a strong will nor life to break away from his enslavement. The chaos that would ensue from the resistance would be a blessing to this realm. Onaga must never gain the upper hand to this struggle. It will take more menace than just me alone. I suspect Tutaro would be on the denial of freedom, recruiting his revolting henchmen to perform his and Onaga's bidding. If I could just find my comrades Darius and Dairu, it would make an easier feat. Never let Hataru and this Satan override the ways of chaos. Of course. Kung Lao was still sitting hunched over with his head low enough to cover his eyes. Your Earthrealmer friend here could use some assistance. May I convert him? At least escort us to the nearest portal. Just head back from whence you came. I need to gather my men for the upcoming battle. It has been too long I was in an accelerating war. Hanzo didn't believe any greeting, instead carried Kung Lao back to the portal. Although, his mind, it phased out again. Good, I'm almost done. Shujinko, you have found the Chaos Kamidogu, Damashi spoke after Shujinko wandered into that maze, which, as we all know, he aged rapidly. So, yes, I have found it in a labyrinth not far from here, but I feel strange. I feel like I have changed. Indeed, you have. Many years have passed since you first entered this realm. I suspect the labyrinth you encountered contains some time-stirring agent. Time has passed, but you have not perceived it. Many years? By the gods, I do feel older. Must have been that strange liquid I stepped through. That is a distinct possibility. It matters not. You should return to the Nexus and place it on the altar. You have done well, Shujinko. The Elder Gods will be pleased. Lao's hallucination faded once his body slightly lurched while Hanzo carried him up the steep stairwell and back into the Nexus portal. Oi! I was going to include another scene, but I kind of figured it'd be too long, and too much work. The Chaosrealm was pretty interesting, even Havik. Which is strange, because while I prefer organization over disarray, I seem to like the cleric better, as he's a bizarre, though awesome moveset is never bound to rules, and appreciates freedom, even though to the Satan it's anarchy. Strong will doesn't seem to be the Order Realm's way of life, thus Havik's disgust over Onaga's enslavement. I don't blame him. Besides, I know a lot when it comes to having a former guardian and several others I hate that control, manipulate, and begrudge what I like and what I do, as they think it's either too overstimulating or they just want to force me into conformity. Like here! It was tough writing this. I needed to make a breather. 616's playthrough was alright, even though Anonymous Affection's walkthrough was more in-depth. And there are the songs for that. Yada yada yada. I'm not a fan of Mortal Kombat X, as you already know, but I figured the Quaiton jungle was a nice touch for the second Revenant fight. Interesting environment and interactions too. I'm trying my damnedest to connect as many elements of my brainstorming as I can, including conquest. I don't want to make the story overwhelming for me and those following it. So, more shall be further delved into later. Until then, this is the Ecron Writer signing out, and I'll see you all next time.